Good morning students. We are starting with chapter 6, measures of dispersion. Students, just before we studied the measures of central tendency, where we calculated a figure which used to represent the entire data. Mean, median and mode are the measures of central tendency which gives an average value of the complete data. Now we are going to study how dispersed or how different the data is from the actual mean. For example, students, if you're given some observations, you find out the mean of that observation and you want to know how much the values or the observations are different or away or dispersed from the actual mean. The measures that help in calculating the dispersion of data are called measures of dispersion. As seen, dispersion is the extent to which values in a distribution differ from the average, which is also called the mean of the distribution. There are 4 measures of dispersion: range, quartile deviation, mean deviation and standard deviation. The first 3 are deleted from this year's syllabus, so we'll move on with standard deviation as the only measure of dispersion. Before we start with the calculation part, there are 2 types of measures: absolute and relative. Absolute measures are those measures which, when calculated, gives the answer in absolute number. That number is attached with the unit of measurement. For example, if you're finding the standard deviation of height of 50 students, then the standard deviation or the absolute measure will always come in the units in which the data is represented. It could be in inches, could be in centimeters or feet. In comparison to it, relative measures are the measures which, when calculated, gives answers in percentages. Therefore, they are free from any unit. While calculating relative measure, the final answer is written without units. In our syllabus, standard deviation calculation will be having units, so it's called an absolute measure, while coefficient of variation does not have any unit of measurement, that's called relative measure. Starting with standard deviation, the first point gives you the definition of standard deviation. It is the positive square root of average of square deviation taken from arithmetic mean. Standard deviation, as you can see, is represented by the Greek letter sigma, and the formula is derived from the definition itself. It is basically the square root of mean of all the square deviations taken from arithmetic mean. So first of all, you need to find out deviations from mean, then you need to square the deviations and then find out the average of squared deviations. Finally, the number has to be in square root to be able to calculate the standard deviation. Remember students, standard deviation is always a positive number. We are starting with the numerical portion, and first of all we have 4 methods to calculate standard deviation for individual series: actual mean method, assumed mean method, direct method and step deviation method. Let's start with actual mean method. Students, wherever the method used is actual mean, the first step will always be to find out the actual mean, and the second step would be to find out deviations from mean. That is basically the purpose of actual mean method. Here also you will first of all calculate the mean, then find out deviations from mean, then square the deviations and find out its total and apply the formula which you can see on the screen. This is an example of calculation of standard deviation using actual mean method. As you can see in the first column of the table, you are given values of x 16, 13, 17 and 22. In order to find out the mean, actual mean, we total up all the observations and divide it by n. So we get mean is equal to 17. The next step is to find out deviations. So you can see in the second column of the table, deviations are found out by subtracting actual mean from all the values of x. So you get -1, -4, 0 and 5. The next step is to square up the deviations in order to remove the negative sign. So the third column of the table is the square of the second column. Finally, we total up the third column and apply into the formula. As you can see at the bottom, standard deviation is equal to under root of sigma x minus x bar whole square upon n. As we put the values, we get standard deviation in as 3.2. The second method is assumed mean method. The name itself is suggesting that there is no need to calculate actual mean. You can assume mean from the variables given to you. The rest of the steps are same. You need to find out deviations from assumed mean. Then you need to square the deviations and then find out its total and apply the formula. Here the formula is a little bit different. As you can see, it's equal to under root of sigma d square upon n minus sigma d upon n whole square, where d is x minus a. A is your assumed mean and x is the values given to you in the question. Students, n is the total number of observations. Since we are talking about individual series and we don't have frequencies in individual series, so n will always be equal to number of observations, be it any method. You can see this example. Just one part is eliminated where we have not calculated the actual mean. In this question, we have assumed 35 as assumed mean. The second column is of deviations and the third column is of square of deviations. Once we have made the table, we will apply the values in the formula and find out standard deviation. The next method is direct method. Since students, this is a direct method, you need not take any deviations in this method. Remember, this is a direct method. No deviations are required to be calculated either from actual mean or from assumed mean. So the simplest method, where you just have to follow two steps, the values are given to you. You just need to square up all the values and find out its total and then apply the formula. As you can see, the formula is sigma x square upon n minus sigma x upon n whole square under root. In the first column, you are given the values of x. You have just made a second column by squaring up the first column and found the total of both the columns, substituted the values into the formula. So the standard deviation is equal to 2.83 approximately. Coming to the last method, which is step deviation method. The formula is similar to assumed mean method because the steps are also similar to assumed mean method. As you all know by far that in step deviation method, we reduce down the scale by dividing the deviations by a common factor to get d dash. In the formula, you would see that d is replaced with d dash, and since we had reduced the scale, we need to multiply the formula by c to come back to the original scale. The steps are similar, students. Find out deviations from assumed mean. Divide the deviations by common factor c to get d dash. Square up the d dash column and find out its total. Apply it into the formula. As you can see here, you are given the values of x. You calculated second column of deviations. Then from deviations you reduced down the scale to d dash by dividing all the values by 5. And finally you square up the column. Point to be remembered here, students, is that the common factor that you take to divide the values of d has to be the highest common factor, HCF. It cannot be any number that can divide all the values. It has to be the highest possible number dividing all the values of d. So the 4 methods of individual series are over. For continuous series, students, there are just 3 methods: actual mean, assumed mean and step deviation. Direct method is not possible in case of continuous series, as we are given values of x in the form of class intervals. Alright, starting with the actual mean method. The formula and the steps are similar, students. You need to keep one thing in mind, that since it's a continuous series, there are 2 changes. Number 1, the values of x would not be given as individual observations, they will be given in the form of intervals. And along with that, you will be given frequencies. Now since frequencies are given, you need to use up the column of frequency. So let's see the steps. Again, I told you, since it's an actual mean method, the very first step would be to find out the actual mean and then find out deviations from actual mean. Once you have done that, now the next step is to multiply the frequencies with the deviations to get FD column. Finally, you will multiply FD column with D column to get FD square. Find out the total of this last column, FD square, and simply apply into the formula sigma FD square upon n under root. Now here, students, n is not equal to number of observations, n is equal to the total of frequencies. You can look up to here. You are given the first column as intervals, second column frequencies. Now in order to find out actual mean, you need to find out midpoints and multiply frequencies with midpoints to get FM. In order to find out actual mean, you need to divide the total of FM column with the total of F column. Once you calculate mean, find out deviations, multiply frequencies with deviations, and then multiply the last 2 columns. You get the values of FD square, total them up and substitute into the formula. The next method is assumed mean method. Likewise, here also need not calculate the actual mean, but you can take any number as assumed mean out of the midpoints. The rest of the steps remain same. Find out deviations from midpoints, multiply frequencies with the deviations to get FD, and then multiply FD with D to get FD square. Apply into the formula. See, students, if you relate this formula with the formula of assumed mean for individual series, you will find that there is only difference of frequencies. Here, since frequencies are given to you in the question, you need to multiply frequencies with the deviations and substitute it into the formula. An example is shown to you. The first 2 columns will be given to you in the question. You need to find out midpoints. From midpoints, you select a number as assumed mean, find out deviations, multiply F and D to get FD, and then finally multiply D and FD to get FD square. Substitute the values in the formula and get standard deviation. Coming to the last method of step deviation, again students, this is similar to the assumed mean method, the only difference being that since we reduce down the scale in the original table, we also have to increase the scale in the final formula. So find out midpoints. From the midpoints, take assumed mean, find out deviations, find out d dash. This is another column that will be made in this method, d dash column. Now multiply frequencies with d dash to get f d dash, and then finally multiply f d dash with d dash to get f d dash square. You can look up to the formula sigma f d dash square upon sigma f minus sigma f d dash whole square upon sigma f whole square under root into c. This is an illustration. So standard deviation for individual series can be calculated using 4 methods, and standard deviation for continuous series can be calculated using 3 methods. Remember students, standard deviation is an absolute measure. So you always need to write down the unit of measurement which has been given in the question. Coming now to coefficient of variation, which is the relative measure of standard deviation. Relative measure means that it is free from units and it is expressed in percentage terms. The formula for CV is standard deviation upon mean into 100. Remember to express this term in the form of percentage always. This is an example of computation of coefficient of variation. You will be able to see in the last the formula standard deviation upon mean into 100. So you get 32.08. Another important topic, properties of standard deviation. Students, standard deviation fulfills the following criteria. Number 1, the sum of deviations from a value other than actual mean will not be equal to 0. That means if you take deviations from any number which is not the actual mean, then the sum of those deviations will never be 0. So that means if you take deviations from actual mean and you sum up all the deviations, the number is always going to be 0. That's the first property. The second one says standard deviation is independent of origin. That is, it is not affected by the value of constant from which deviations are calculated. Students, if you change this origin point, the standard deviation is not going to be affected. This is the meaning of the term independent of origin, that deviations which are calculated from the values of the constant do not affect standard deviation. Third point, standard deviation is not independent of scale. That is, if deviations are divided by a common factor, the highest common factor, the value of common factor is used in the final formula to get the value of standard deviation. Because students, since you reduce down the scale when you are following step deviation method, you need to bring back the scale up in the final formula, otherwise the value of standard deviation will not be accurate. So that means scale affects standard deviation. If you change the scale, your standard deviation is also going to be affected. So joining points 2 and 3, we can say that change of origin does not affect standard deviation, but change of scale affects standard deviation. Thank you.